and departments, and is further evidence that the United States federal government exists today in name only. So if you understand that, you understand the Clearfield Doctrine. Are we clear?
So,
My brother, if that's the case,
Say it again.
there ain't no IRS.
so has no power,
Well,
no
now,
authority.
all
But
right.
my question is though, even
Now, slow down what you just said. Now listen, now say that again because I want everybody to hear. That means they have no power.
no power nor authority.
All right, now remember this. He has no power less what you render unto him. Which means he has no jurisdiction. We keep giving it to him. Then we want to complain. In law, fail to claim a right and you've abandoned it. Failure to claim a right, you've abandoned your right of claim. Now do you understand the writs again? You're making your claim. Now you understand what that magistrate was looking at when he saw them papers that Truth was talking about? Because he's a Mason. You don't need to argue, you need to understand what you're dealing with. You don't need to argue, you need to know. The people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, not a lack of faith, not a lack of belief, a lack of knowledge. But they refuse to deal with knowledge, and Allah rejects those who reject knowledge.
Yes, sir.
Do you understand?
Yes, brother. Yes.
Now, but even when you express it, it must be with a sincere energy, because he's not affected by it if you don't project sincere connection to it. If you come out with it artificially, with an artificial vibration, it's dismissed. You don't come with a question, you come with an affirmative position. Continue, please.
My question is, due to the fact that they have no power, no authority, that the United States corporation or company has been dissolved.
Yes.
Why?
You've got a dual argument already. Continue.
Why then, with the Representative Traficant knowing that this was the facts, these were facts, would they still be having elections and doing all this? Is it because, like you said, of the
because it's a private corporation, and the people are waiving their right to the republic and accepting the democracy without challenge. And therefore you have imposters sitting in the seats of government, just like you have the imposters setting themselves up in the Thessalonians claiming to be God. What is God? Government ordinance departments. Are they lying? No. Are they deceiving? Yes. Is it people's responsibility to call into the common law? It is.
Yes.
And what did Georgie say to that woman? She says, when she put question to the floor, when they were brought into the republic form of government, and 1789, George was appointed as the 9th president after Griffith. And he said, Madam, you now have a republic if you're willing to keep it. And now you see all these adults teaching their children about our democracy. And then they wonder why they ain't got no houses and no property, and they going into their bank accounts, and those ain't money. It's called private commercial paper. But what do the adults keep telling their children it is? It's money. So they lied to their children. And they're held for what they say. So now they're taxable because it's private stuff, and that's where the interest comes in. You see?
So we could, in fact, create our own private.
I like how you talking about that.
A medium of exchange.
Now, this is the deal. Of course you can. Now, under a color of operations, they've been suppressing people doing that, right?
Yes.
So now the international law comes in and says that you have a right to determine your own social, economic, and political status of the state. Indigenous people.
Yes.
Yes.
But they don't want to acknowledge that they're the people of the land, do they?
No.
See, because they brought us from Africa, from the hills of North America, and took our sandwiches.
Well, they just gave up their rights. See what Malcolm found out and why they murdered him when he found it out that they was lying to his own brothers and sisters? And who schooled him? A blue-eyed French Muslim.
Yeah.
Brother, you come here with that white and black star. That's slave language. You left the Maghreb. Just because you made the Hajj, I think you know more Islam than anybody else. A lot of Europeans know much as Islam as you do, and more. You left home. Great Masonic secret.
Here.
So he came back and
Wow. You hear that?
recognized what? Enemy was on both sides.
Wow. Wow.
That's what they don't tell you about him.
And that's it. Oh.
Do you understand?
Oh.
And more you understand what's really going on, and even what, Brother Khalid, a couple years ago, he started telling these people about their Moorish heritage. All of a sudden, he had a seizure in the hotel.
Son is being pushed.
What? What is he
Because
dead?
they're suppressing the information.
Yeah.
Because when these
Talk
people
about
know who they are,
Oh.
all those bonds they got around the world will start curling up. It's because they're based on marriage certificates, birth. Yes. Yeah.
Stocks. Stocks.
Yeah.
Stocks.
Because they're all based on human trafficking. Marriage certificates that people think is with the Lord.
They got a marriage certificate, it's just registered with the Lord. And the imam registered with the Lord.
No, he registered with the Department of Commerce. and he got a kickback with that. Then they filed it in the Department of Orphans, which makes the offspring wards of the state automatically and not descendable. And no one comes forth. And then the mother's accused of being an informant. Then they say she sold them. Then they take the children, since they can't sign for themselves, and take their whole foundation and put it on a certificate, footprint. And they say, isn't that just so beautiful for the Lord? Yeah, the Lords of London. It is. And what is the agreement? Secret Treaty of Verona between the Vatican,
Yep.
the District of London,
Yeah.
and Washington, D.C., and they even have a 3-star flag that they fly on the parkway for them.
They do.
That's the agreement. That's the Trinity Agreement for world conquest.
Wow.
It's not a secret. See, this is the issue. None of this stuff is a secret. It's that the leaders won't teach the people. Why? It's called kickback, 501c3 agreement. Skull and bones.
Wow.
Because they ain't getting no silver. They get private commercial paper. It's still a Judas factor though. That's what the 501c3 is. That's why you think they can't talk about political issues. Or they'll take their preaching license. How they get a, there was separation of church and state. Yeah, right. It's only separate in the minds of the people.
Wow.
You know, and the people insist on not looking at the evidence because it doesn't fit their beliefs. Islam, brother.
Islam. You now said about what was it? The preachers not. You said about the preachers not teaching about the politics. Something to that effect.
No, they claim that there's a separation of church and state, and that's a false statement.
Mm-hmm.
However, it's well promoted.
Right, of course. That reminds me of the time when Martin Luther King started talking about the war in Vietnam.
Now he broke his
political.
oath. He got, remember, he's also 33-degree Mason.
Right.
And then he started talking about the mountaintop, which is the Great Seal that you see on the back of the note. So they're not to speak publicly about their Great Seal.
So when he
See,
did,
because-
that's when they got to him.
Well, that's why the Temple of Solomon.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's not like, say, for instance, when he says this. He says, "Tonight I'm not fearing any man. I love life. Longevity has its place." You see, been to the mountain top. In Masonry, that Great Seal Pyramid is called Muhammad's Mountain. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
If Muhammad don't go to the mountain comes to Muhammad. I've been to the mountain top, and I've seen the promised land.
Yeah.
I might not get there with you, but we as a people will make it to the promised land. Now pull out a note, pull out a single note, pull out a single note. And turn it on back to your seals. That private commercial paper. Now, if you look under the seal, the first seal, it says, "The Great Seal," doesn't it?
Yes.
Doesn't it? Hmm?
Yeah, I can't see it, but yeah.
Yeah, all right. And then, if you look under the other one, it says, "Of the United States." So let's go to third grade grammar. Of is a preposition, which means a substantive connector, which means those two seals are one. And they even put one between them. And so the United States has a dual seal, but no one speaks under the Great Seal. Why? If that's the Great Seal, why wouldn't the representatives speak under the Great Seal? Because they are not the sovereigns. The sovereigns have been overthrown.
Us.
There you go.
But what did he
Now
mean?
you understand what Martin's saying? Tonight I'm not fearing any man.
What do you
I
mean?
love life, longevity. He knew he was going to break his Masonic oath. He's talking in codes.
Oh.
He already knows it's a death sentence.
And the reason he was gonna talk about.
He got frustrated because he already been given a signal. He already know he's marked. Do you understand? You got to remember, you got to look at this differently. You've got to understand people in position of authority have another body of knowledge that they're aware that the general masses don't have. They think differently. They may not speak one-on-one with them on that level, but at all times they understand this thing is not what the masses know. So therefore, when you threaten the Don, it's all you can't retrieve it. You can't take it back, because it's how the earth is run. They are God of the earth. He's the God of this world. Do you understand?
What was he gonna say? What was Martin gonna say?
He was getting frustrated, particularly at the time when they hit him with a brick when they was marching.
Yeah.
He said, something's really wrong with these people. In other words, he recognized that with all the good that he intended, he did more damage than good. The people following behind him gave up all their hotels, all of their restaurants, all of the things that was ours in the name of anti-segregation, and now they're subjected to all kinds of abuses, trying to be somebody that they're not, that they could never be. Not only that, he already know that the nobility clause, the original Article of Amendment 13, which is also in the congressional records, that people of African descent can never be citizens of the United States. Why? Because they're the people of the land. Dumb. Duh. Do you understand? Wow. And so what has happened, in the name of ending segregation, he actually put them in a position for the future generations to be poorer than they ever were. They used to have their own hotels, but no, they want to eat at Woolworths. Now they ain't got no restaurants.
Bus lines.
They had their own hospitals.
Yes.
Now they subject to plastic cards, all kinds of drugs and nanoviruses, mercury given to the children.
He did more damage than he did
Of
good.
course he did. Now, of course, so he says, now, tonight I'm not fearing any man. Longevity has its place. You already know it's a death sentence, right? He says, you see, I've been to the mountaintop, Great Seal. He's talking Masonically. And I've seen the promised land. We as a people, I may not get there with you. We as a people will make it to the promised land. What is the promised land? The Maghreb, Morocco, the most extreme west. The opening of the seventh seal. Do you understand? So, now, look at that note. And look at your seal. And you'll notice that the sun rises in the east and casts a shadow in the west. And so the pyramid indicates that the shadow is cast in the west. Right? So I come from the east, even unto the west, seeking my Lord's sheep. You got to recognize the symbols, the messages. Now, the shadow that is cast in the west, now you understand the dark north and the west, northwest. You understand? All right? Or they call themselves keepers of the north gate. And that's why they keep it dark in the north of the lodges, where they buried the grand architect, Hiram Abiff. Sun on high. Do you see? All right. Now, so as you can see, it casts a shadow in the west, right? And you notice that the glyphs or the graphics defies nature, and the shadow continues underneath the pyramid. As if it's riding on the sand rather than set in the sand. Then there's an acacia bush in the east. Acacia bush. This is why they use it ritually in your secret societies, mystery schools. The acacia bush is representing everlasting life. And it doesn't die in the summer like in winter like the other plants. See? So now, if you look over the bird, or the phoenix, you'll notice that Hex Alpha is above the bird's head in 13 stars. And of course, that 13 is the cycle of the moon as it dances around the earth, as the earth dances around the sun. And so your 13 and your 12 is what?
25.
So 2 and 5 is what?
7.
See your circle 7? So now, take that light that's on this pyramid and turn it upside down and bring it to the earth. It's the Great Seal. And so you can see that the shadow becomes 7. And so that's the opening of the 7th seal in your face. They always hide it in the people's face, right under their nose, which is also shaped like a pyramid.
Yeah.
And then the third eye sits above it, where the thalamus nerve comes from the dark side of the brain, terminates just above the crown of the nose. There you go. See the eye? That's your spiritual eye, or the seed of David, seed of Dawood. The activation of the pineal gland, so he can see. See? So he's projecting for the future for the next generations. Though he must now be a sacrificial lamb. Do you understand? So they know they're gonna bump him off.
Wow.
All right? But he's talking Masonically. All right? Now, while he's talking to the people, he's actually talking to the government.
Mm-hmm.
But he knows that the people don't see it the way he sees it. The people's impressed. Oh, well, he said that. And then they pause and say, dang, that sounds prophetic. What's he trying to tell us? And then as soon as they bump him off, dang, he prophesied his own death. Not really. But yes, really. If you understand.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's all before you. You see. But it'd been better if he just like took the refrigerator door off and stopped playing. Don't worry about whether people thought he was a good man.
Mm-hmm.
Take your ego out of it. Tell people what the Great Seal is. They're going to kill you anyway.
Yep.
But he's more worried about, because they got a bunch of stuff on them, swinging from the chandeliers with the girls and stuff. Well, it's the truth. And so he's no longer useful. Then you start talking about the Pope's army. You can't do that. Because the minions, the dummies, will start thinking and putting two and two together. And so we ain't paying you for that. We're paying you to keep the natives calm, the sheep calm, while we shear them. That's what your job is. That's what all of their jobs are. Keep the sheeple calm while they get sheared. Everybody got cashmere sweaters but them. And they ain't figured it out yet. That's why they call them their flock.
Yeah.
Dawood wasn't going for that. They come talking about, yeah, we're going to go kick G's butt. Me and my boys and everything, you know what I'm saying? They're all proud and everything. And, go on, man. I want to go too. Yeah, call your boys, man. We're going to kick G's butt. So everybody marching down, going to kick G's butt. All right? The closer they got to G, the bigger the shadow got. And everybody starts telling me, my mom baked the cake and I think it's her birthday. I gotta leave. My cell phone ain't working, I forgot to plug it in. And they go down and kick G's butt and start getting airy, start feeling all this air around. But then the crowd before was hot.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's sweating, ready to bounce. And they start feeling the air all around them. Everybody going. Hey, all the army going, right? Now, Dawood was sitting by a stream. He wasn't impressed. So he put his hand in the stream, picked up 5 smooth stones, solid foundation. The wisdom been running on them stones for ages. That's why they're smooth. 5 principles. But he only needed one. He took that one stone, put it in a cow eye, 360 degrees above his head. You see the symbols? And he struck Goliath in the pineal gland. G fell, and he took G's own stuff and cut his head off. You must understand, he wasn't impressed with the dogma. He used the science. Didn't take an army, it only takes the science.
Yep.
If you understand what it's saying.
I'm with you.
And so, G's bad, but he ain't that bad.
Oh, yeah.
And this is where Yahshua was telling Lazarus to get off from the rich man's feet. Because what he's really saying, you got a birthright. What's up with you? You ain't got to be poor. Get up. Get your butt up. Oh, Jesus, get me. Get up. He only got power because you keep giving it to him.
He's gone.
Because that's what he's saying. And then what he said, I'll come amongst my own and they receive me not. Why? They want to be Romans, that's why. Because that's really what it's saying. Well, who's this one talking about? He was Moabite. Canaanite. It's called the copper test. Hair like lamb's wool, skin like burnished brass, as it burned in an oven. So they put Roman up there. And then they called him to Jesus. And that's who the people follow. And so they buy and sell with Roman names. They don't own crap. Then they want to lie on Yeshua, who they rejected. And then they go into secret societies, and the first lesson they get is of Ruth the Moabitess, his great-great-grandmother. She was Moabite, and so was he. What is Moabite? It's the ancient name for Moroccans. Who's the Moroccans? The Al-Moroccans. Who's the Al-Moroccans? Descendants of Moroccans. Who are they? They are called the Moors.
Man, I want
And it's never been a secret. It's never been a secret. Right? And so all of those who rule must wear what? The Moorish fez, crown of the sun. Father of the eternal zodiac. And it's never been a secret. In all the secret societies, they wear the crown of the sun. It's called Tierra Sol. Whether they're so-called Jew or Muslim or Christians. And you won't see no brim. That's the guy brim. You won't see no brim on them. And then Peter, Pope Ptah, wears the Piscean crown. It's called fish head. What? The crown of Pisces. Piscean age of belief before the Aquarian age, and therefore they dealt with what is called the Arian heresies. What is the Arian heresies? Those who face east with a rising sun. Aries. March. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Moons. 21st. 2 and 1, 3. Pyramid up, pyramid down. Hex alpha. You see? What is the Arian heresy? The suppression of Islam by the popes of Rome, while in secret they themselves hold the truth, but hinder the others from knowing it. Masonic secret. It's not complex. Right underneath their nose, right in their faces. And this is why, like, when you get this information, they start to, it's terrorist papers, and all that kind of stuff.
And talking that sovereignty stuff.
And now they lost their birthright. So now they want the republic back. So this is where you got all these Europeans with these so-called sovereignty groups. What are they talking about? They're talking about the republic. That's what they're talking about. Why did they shut it down? To institutionalize forced servitude and peonage that they connotatively called slavery in 1868, and the creation of the corpse, 14th Amendment, where they registered Christian property that they conquered. They called humans, oh no, don't call them that, call them chattel. It's more palatable. And then get some Negro preachers to run around and get them to agree to be 14th Amendment persons. So you can be a Negro voter. Well, that's what that 14th Amendment is. Wow. And it's called an ens legis. And that becomes what is called the straw man that you see in The Wizard of Oz.
Yep.
And the yellow road is the zodiac constitution of the Moors, and they display it in the courtyard of the mosque that is City Hall in Philadelphia, right in the center of the courtyard, with the parapet in the north, with Billy Penn standing 23.5 degrees facing the Masonic Lodge, and then the Mummers Parade ends right there. I mean, they do it all the time. And they do it under what? Janus, January. And they call it the Moorish parade. It's called their fiscal New Year, not the New Year, the fiscal New Year, because the New Year is March 21st. Called the vernal equinox, Easter. Anyway, so if you understand this, right, then we'll go to the rich so that you can better.
Head smoking.
Now,
Head smoking. Got steam coming out my ears.
now I want you to write down Aboriginal title. Because it's important, because now you're going to do some research, right, in your spare time, and you're going to look up Aboriginal title, and you'll find that, like, mainly under European colonial operations, you know, even though they resist, the first acknowledgement is like in Australia, Aboriginal people, etc. And this is the superior title to all other claims by the people of the land distinguished from the corporation. It has only been held back or suppressed because of the Pope's doctrine of discovery, of the Christian doctrine for conquest, that these things have been ignored. This is again why we remind people where Pope Francis ended the doctrine of discovery. So they can't hide behind that anymore either. This is another thing that magistrate recognized when Truth presented these papers to him. Do you understand? So let's go through this real quick so that we can start getting some concepts here. So quit claim deed. You already know, deed under feudal law is what you call sharecropping instrument. So it's converted to what? An allodial, aboriginal, paramount, clear, perfect title of conveyance. 2, international private trust. So now this establishes a claim, doesn't it? Doesn't it? So he cannot be accused of abandoning his estate, can he?
No.
And so avowal, as amended, curative affidavit. So an affidavit must be rebutted word for word, mustn't it?
Yes.
And if not rebutted, it stands as law, doesn't it?
That's
Yes.
right.
So gnosis of Ruth the Moabitess trust. So, sound like you a Moabite, no? Yeah. So, I mean, can you get more superior to the claim of the land than that?
No.
Oh, all right. International organization, ecclesiastical body. So now you're going back to even beyond ancient Sumer, to ancient Lemuria, ancient Sumer. All right? Imperium in re curative title. And then, of course, your lot. And the nature and context of the instrument. 2, curator status of allodial title, estate descriptio, including imperium, the incorporation of international laws, etc., acts of state, republic inter alia, ecclesiastical maxims, prerequisite for fee exemptions. So that means it's exempt from feudal law, isn't it?
Yes.
As distinguished from the right of allodial. So you have allodial distinguished from the fee, which is feudal. So you're not, subject to their tax. Enforcement of international constitutional treaty. The 1786, 1787, 1836 Treaty of Peace and Friendship, Title 28, USC et sequa, 1941 International Organization Immunities Act, codified at Title 22 USC, subsection 288, usufruct, non-obligatory, federal tax exemption, United States of America Constitution, Article 1, Section 2, Clause 3, incorporated, with letter of conveyance antecedent, contemporanea, expositio, this day, August 14, 1970, executed by Delilah Passe, and herein now conveyed to Gnosis of Ruth de Moabitess Trust, international organization, ecclesiastical body. So now all so-called religious principles of secured right of claim, separate from their claim of private, is instituted in your first entry and in the first paragraph, including the evidence of trust. Right? All right. So, trustor and heir, executive beneficiary, Delilah, Lamed Paseil, in propria persona, su juris, and su heredis, in solo proprio, that means in your own land, etc. This means in your own proper person, standing in law, su juris, competent, and su heredis, thus heritable, in solo proprio, in her own land. So both in status and claim of estate established. Thus trustor, curator, allodial proprietor, jus corporeal hereditatis, that's corporal and incorporeal, you see? So that means the physical and the abstract. Processor, vassal of the Moroccan Empire, nation state, Moorish American national, free white person. Reversioner, that's a reclaiming of your estate. Northwest of Mexico, Northwest Africa, North America, the North Gate, Turtle Island. All rights of claims are in fact relative to allodial, aboriginal, paramount, clear, perfect title, also jus soli, jus sanguine, right of claims to my inheritance being the ancestral lands, hereditaments, estates of the Moroccan Empire, Moorish nation. My right of claim has been and is hereby made known to the general public and made known to private persons, giving timely opportunity for any valid and verifiable rebuttal or notice or affirmative objection or verified claim to the contrary of the right of claim made herein. Conveyance, reversioner, I, Delilah, Lamed Paseil, do declare, proclaim, make known, and assert unalienable and substantive rights, and my proper person, Moorish American national status, being of a general and permanent character, Title 22, Chapter 2, Section 141, AA 222141, Truth A1, in heirship allegiance with the ancient customs and traditions of my ancient archaic foremothers and forefathers immemorially, asserting my descendable status, acquisition by birthright, natural heir, freeholder by birthrights, natural possession, right of allodial, aboriginal, paramount, clear, perfect title, by descent, consanguineous, being heir, executive to my ancestral estate of the Moroccan Empire, Northwest of Mexico, North America, Northwest Africa, North Gate, Turtle Island. Location coordinates, private territorial property, 40 degrees, 3 minutes, 36 seconds north, 75 degrees, 11 minutes, 21 seconds west, care of 7128 Chew Avenue, Philadelphia, Territory, Pennsylvania, Commonwealth, North America. Now, care of, because the address is only being referenced, it is not a claim on the address itself, but that is other private property. Now, so zip exempt, box out. So you're coming off the seas back onto the land. Private, non-residential, non-commercial, non-domestic, non-subject. I, Delilah, Lamed Paseil, am the allodial possessor, natural heirs, beneficiary, natural born, freeholder by birthright to the organic territorial lands estate of the Moroccan Empire, geographically comprised of organic lands, Northwest of Mexico, Northwest Africa, North America, South America, Central America, and the adjoining islands. Affirmatively, the same is hereby made known to the general public and identified in the pre-existing Treaty of Peace and Friendship between the United States of America, Republic form of government, and the Moroccan Empire of 1786, 1787, and 1836. Internationally, the Treaty of Peace and Friendship is also known as the Treaty of Amity and Commerce. Pardon me. By divine right and by natural law, my Moorish descent right of claims are rooted in my consanguinity by my national lineage and allegiance, being a true Aboriginal and indigenous native to the land, territories of Mesoamerica, and with honor positively supported by the nature of and the character of the common law. Description, location, private air property land estate. Private property estate being that which is aggregately located on the alluvial soils of the Moroccan Empire, Northwestern Mexico, Northwest Africa, North America, the North Gate, Turtle Island, being on that certain land or piece of ground conjoined with the buildings and the improvements thereon erected, elated, hereditaments and appurtenances, beginning at a point on the southwesterly side of 2 Street at the distance of 345 feet 10 1/8 inches westerly from the southwest easterly side of Mount Airy Avenue, thence extending along the said side of 2 Street, south 49 degrees, 32 minutes, 5 seconds east, 22 feet, 3 inches, to a point, thence on the line south 41 degrees, 6 minutes, 55 seconds west, 120 feet, 12 feet, to a point, thence north 49 degrees, 32 minutes, 5 seconds west, 22 feet, 3 inches, to a point, and thence on the line through the center of the party, well north, 41 degrees, 6 minutes, 55 seconds east, 112 feet, to the said side of 2 Street, the first mentioned point and place of beginning, contemporarily being corporately designated as or known as house number 7128 2 Street. The above corporately designated private property with location described for the public record only shall forever be noted as distinguished from the rightfully acknowledged, reversionary claimed, and accepted heirship and private right of claim of estate and hereditaments of and by the heir, adjacent Philadelphia Territory, Pennsylvania Commonwealth, North America. Quitclaim deed, conveyance of allodial Aboriginal paramount clear perfect title, executed this 22nd day of February 2015 by first party grantor Delilah Passe, with mailings and communications usage of post office address displays care of 7128 2 Avenue, Philadelphia Territory, Pennsylvania Commonwealth, non-domestic, non-resident, non-subject. I am, and then her signature there, authorized representative, natural person, Aboriginal, indigene, impropriate persona, sui juris, and sui heritis, in solo proprio, signature all rights reserved, UCC 1-207, UCC 1-303, UCC 1-103, Delilah Passe. Conveyed to the second party, proprietus plena, grantee, vessel of the Moroccan Empire International Trust, curative trustee, Gnosis of Group de Moabitis Trust International Organization at alias, whose permanent national domicile is care of 7128 Street, Philadelphia Territory, Pennsylvania Commonwealth, zip exempt 19119, geographically located at Northwestern Mexico, Northwest Africa, North America, Almanac, the North Gate, Turtle Island, interposition to the Pennsylvania Commonwealth 1787 Incorporation. I am, and then you have authorized representative, Moorish American, national, natural freeholder, natural person, Aboriginal, indigene, impropriate persona, sui juris, and sui heritis, in solo proprio, signature all rights reserved, UCC 1-207, UCC 1-303, UCC 1-103, reversioner, Delilah Lamed Passe-Eel. Third, heir, executive beneficiary, Delilah Lamed Passe-Eel, being in allodial possession recipient of conveyance, wherefore I, Delilah Lamat Pesiil, being heir to the land and part and parcel, attributed herein by birthright, by freehold, by primogeniture, and by heirship inheritance, stand with assured confidence and make a lawful and legal entry of affidavit and public notification of nationality and heirship proclamation, right of claim, affirmation of reversioner and publication, herewith made known and published for the public record and for private notification. And again, the signature, etc. And these are signatures which you're familiar with. So consideration. And I want you to read this while I clear my throat. Yes. You can do one also on the computer if you choose to.
Consideration witnessed that the said first party grantor, heir by natural descent, proprietus for good consideration and for the sum of $1 in silver coin specie, bartered, traded, and paid by the said second party, grantee, beneficiary, Seneca Trust, the receipt whereof is hereby acknowledged. Therefore, the first party, grantor, does hereby remise, release, and convey allodial, aboriginal, paramount, clear, perfect title of, possession unto the said second party, Gnosis of Ruth the Moabitess Trust, international organization, vessel of the Moroccan Empire, curator, trustee, beneficiary, Seneca Trust, et ali, for the benefit of all, beneficiaries with lawful recorded interest in the private property, estate, hereditaments forever. All the rights, allodial, aboriginal, paramount, clear, perfect title, hereditaments, interest, and claims which the said first party transmutes, being natural heir in natural possession to estate. All right.
Come on. All right. I'm going to take it up so that. All right. Inter alia imperium.
Inter alia imperium, Title 18 USC subsection 473, dealing in counterfeit obligations of securities, whoever buys, sells, exchanges, transfers, receives, or delivers any false, forged, counterfeited, or altered obligation of other security of the United States with the intent that the same be passed, published, am I right?
or used
Or
as true and genuine,
shall be fined under the title,
this title,
of,
or imprisoned,
or imprisoned not more than 20 years, or both. Federal court case, Cobbler-Brock versus Oregon. See US 187.
1961, as set forth in federal court case, Cobbler-Brock versus Oregon, etc. And then
A state cannot refuse to acknowledge or give foreign nationals their treaty rights because of fear
that valid international agreements may possibly not work completely to the satisfaction of state authorities.
And you got canon of positive law, article, is that article?
Yeah.
84?
Yes.
Trust canon,
1920.
1920.
States and averse.
States and averse any claim that an inferior Roman trust possesses superior standing and rights of ownership compared to a superior trust
or true trust
is an
absurdity against divine law, natural law, and positive law, and therefore is null and void from the beginning, including any associated covenants, deeds, and agreements concerning property rights and lesser trusts. Canon of positive law,
Can you
Article
enlarge this?
85.
I can't see it really, that's the truth.
I know, that's right.
All right.
Divine trust and canon, 1930, states and averse any claimed ownership, conveyance, lien, or other fictional device over any form within a divine trust that are not in accordance with these canons is a fraud and gross injury to the divine creator, and therefore automatically null and void from beginning. Canon of positive law, Article 62, fraud canon, 1732, states in a verse, fraud is the false representation of form to obtain an unjust advantage or to injure the rights of another. Canon of positive law, Article 62, fraud canon, 1754, states in a verse, fraud and justice can never dwell together. By no agreement or statute can it be lawfully effected that a fraud shall be practiced. In witness thereof, the first party has signed and sealed these presents the day and year first above written, signed and sealed and delivered and witnessed in the presence of, and then the representative, minister, or notary may sign there, etc. Personally known to me or proved to me on the basis of satisfactory evidence to the persons whose names are subscribed to the within instrument and acknowledged to me that he, she, they executed the same in his, her authorized capacities, and that by his, her, their signatures on the instrument, the persons or the entity upon the behalf of which the persons executed the instrument. Identification produced, federal nationality and identification card, notary name, notary signature, notary expiration date, witness my hand seal, official seal, etc. And then the party signatures as expressed above, again reproduced with thumbprint, quitclaim deed, allodial aboriginal paramount clear perfect title of conveyance, go down, reversion of estate and hereditaments, notice to eleemosynary. Foreign corporate entities, personnel, agencies, and persons, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, County of Philadelphia, and the associated democracy states of are foreign corporate entities and franchisees of the United States Corporation Company, a colorably converted and foreign entity whose sovereign capacity has been executed and dissolved since March 9, 1933, reference Emergency Banking Relief Act. Therefore, all public notaries are mere avowals to the superior status of the Moorish American nationals, heirs, and natural peoples of the land herein attributed. This informational intercourse shall not be deemed as, nor assumed as reflective of, nor a notion of subjective or of admittance to the foreign private for-profit jurisdiction of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. In the matters of jurisdiction, all personal, in personam, subject matter, and territorial jurisdiction and reversion of a state are retained with the Moroccan Empire, Moorish National Republic, federal government, and its nationals. I am, signature, etc., witness, Trinity, seal, etc., closed out. I am Vizier, Minister, Consul, seal, free sovereign national, Moorish national, etc., with all the appropriate subdivisional statuses, as you already know. And Aboriginal Indigenous Peoples documents, which you're familiar with. This is the instrument that was presented to the court.
What's this, the last one there? It says minister. Who signs that? Who signs that last part?
I signed it.
Yeah.
All right? That's what was presented to the court.
Oh, my President Jersey.
Huh?
True.
Yes, that's what he was talking about.
And how did the judge say that again? What did the judge say?
Yeah, he started reading, when he got about halfway, he says, I don't have any jurisdiction here, and the case dismissed. Because he doesn't. See, because the real deal is that a claim is made. It can't be rebutted. It's an affidavit. And he's an improper person. So they're locked out. See, because this is basically what they do. Number one, the people are Negro, Black, and colored, they automatically have jurisdiction. It doesn't matter what they say.
Yeah.
If Smith, Jones, and Johnson, court automatically has jurisdiction. If they hide behind their religion, court automatically has jurisdiction. You understand? Everything is hypothecated under the doctrine of discovery. And everything is, as we start reading House Joint Resolution 192, if you go into it, you'll see that everything's been hypothecated. Or since 1913, that was Woodrow Wilson, Skull and Bones, etc. It's a countermeasure to Raleigh. So now they can take sides. They can claim their estate, or they can go with Woodrow Wilson. They went with Woodrow Wilson. So all their property is hypothecated. You see the point? So now, but he's claiming the heirship. Because that's really all you have to do is when it says be yourself. See, but you got to know what you're talking about. Do you understand? So, as you can see, he's not arguing race. He's claiming a state.
Yeah.
You know, and the judge didn't have to read it all. It's obvious. You know, I mean, what's he going to do? Keep reading and free the rest of these stupids that's in the court? So he quit while he was ahead. You understand? So these are the instruments, and now also that's what you call a transfer, or just like a transfer of inheritance. That's in the order or in the nature of the instruments we did about 5 years ago, myself and Anna Ida, with transfer of inheritance, is in the same nature of this. See, but you have to know that you have an inheritance.
Yeah.
So if you don't claim your inheritance, that's because it's a birthright.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't claim it, it's no different than you walking down the street and you drop some notes and say, I don't feel like picking that up. And you walk. If somebody picks it up, then they're not robbing you.
No.
But if they pick it up while you're standing there and you're trying to flip, then that's robbery.
Yeah.
Same thing with your rights. If you don't claim your rights and you abandon them and go about your business like you're not interested in this information, in law, you've abandoned your estate.
Yes.
This closes that argument out. It closes out the assumption, right? You know the land's Morocco, you stated. You know you're of Moorish blood, you stated. You got heirship, you stated. You know, you give others an opportunity by affidavit to rebut it. They can't. They'd be stupid if they even tried to. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? Because what they would simply do is teach the other dummies, which is not what they're trying to do.
Right.
Do you understand? They got all these other dummies that think they're Christians.
Mm-hmm.
Which means they're Constantine's property. They think they're talking Jesus-ness. No, they're saying, we're Constantine's property. Because that's really what they're saying.
That's right.
And so they come under deed. They're only sharecroppers. They can be thrown off.
Yep.
Do you understand? And once you understand the nature of this, you wouldn't even necessarily need this much. You just need to make the claim, and your concepts must never vary from that.
Right, right.
Do you understand? And so when you're making your argument, you make your argument with a surety. Because that Judge is a Mason, he knows it's no Western Mexican. You got to fast.
Somebody said there's no jurisdiction with him.
No, because he can't interfere with a private ecclesiastical trust. You got to come to the executor. Who's the executor?
Yeah.
Her. Then he starts saying her name, then he can be sued because now he just trespassed. Even saying her name. Because she didn't give him permission.
So when we send this out,
What you would do, you would go file it in the county and tell them to remove the deed and send you the deed, you accept it. And they'll usually say, give us a couple weeks.
baton at their office?
So they always jump in because remember the stuff's already hypothecated. They can't jump in the private trust. See, because everybody else's stuff is automatically under state jurisdiction. So this takes it out from their jurisdiction.
So where we take that to the county? Which office?
No, okay, all right. There's several issues that you're talking about here, okay? Now, this was a response to, quote unquote, a sheriff's sale, okay? That was my response to the sheriff's sale. I have a Lodio clear, perfect title to Northwestern Mexico. This is my ancestral estate, okay? And you can't even come up on me. And I do fly my flag on, even though the brother teasing me said it looked like a hanky there, but I do fly my flag, okay?
Yeah.
All right? It was response. And my response was, and whom I sent it to, was I sent it to the sheriff because he says he has authority, because he does the quote-unquote sheriff sale. I sent it to Tom Wolf, who is the governor, CEO of the state corporate, doing business as a governor for the state, that corporation, all right? Then I sent it to the Attorney General, okay, because she claims she has command of all the territory, okay? All right? Then I sent it to, Archbishop Chaput, okay, of Philadelphia. He's the Archbishop of Philadelphia, all right? Because the motu proprio has been in place, all right? And also, the banning of the doctrine of discovery in December clearly pulls the rug from underneath them. They have nothing to stand on it now, because they are all legates or ambassadors, deputies of the Pope, okay? Because wherever a Catholic church is, that's where they do the business, all right? Of the Roman Curia, which is the court, okay? So I sent it to Chaput in Philadelphia. He's the Archbishop, okay? Then I also sent it to the guy who put his card in on my personal property, talking about he acquired the property. And I sent it to him. And then I said, well, okay, if you got if you have title to this or superior claim to it, come forth. You know, that's what the thing is, okay? So like, and then what I was going to share now is that, all right, the sheriff says he might or he may have some property of mine, okay? And of course, what was on there was the list of certain things, and deed was the top one, okay? So he's saying, we're going to, you know, say we got something of yours, you know, respond to this, okay? All right, so a brother went down there who was examining it. He says he took the document, he cleaned it up tailored it to his needs, okay? He went down there and they were talking about they wanted 300 notes to put it on the books, all right? So what he did is he did an affidavit of financial statement in form of papyrus. So, and he got it notarized, so, and he put that on top of that so that they cannot ask for anything. But my thought also is to put the Clearfield Doctrine on. If they're asking you for notes, then you are sued.
Now you see the Clearfield Doctrine?
Boom, just put the Clearfield Doctrine on
There
it.
you go.
Woo!
But that's you know, those are the steps that but like I said, you have to clean up the document. You got to create your own trust, private trust. Mine is known as the Gnosis of Ruth the Moabitess Trust, okay? And the other day, this brother came by, he said, he had all my stuff on there, you know, because he was trying to present it, all right? I said, brother, you got to clean this stuff up. You got to create your own trust. And so he said, well, I wasn't sure about that. He said, and then he said, well, Ruth and Boaz. And then he said, I said, well, maybe you can say the Gnosis of Boaz as your trust, okay? You know, put the Gnosis of Boaz as your trust. And then take the Gnosis of Ruth the Moabitess out and clean up the date, because August 14th, 1970 was the first time I laid a pillow down on my ancestral estate in that particular domicile. Okay, that's the first day that I laid my head down there. That's how come I go back to 1970. All right, that was the first time. So he came there and he was using that date too. I said, you know, brother, you got to straighten that out. And you got to straighten out the coordinates too. You can't have the same coordinates as me, because, you know, come on now, you ain't living with me, you know.
When you say coordinates, that we need more than
longitude, latitude.
What's on the description that's on our deed.
Yes.
No.
Right.
It's more than that. You have to
also
translate it, okay? Because you put it in, you Google and say, give me the coordinates for, say, for example, 7128, and then it will translate it to so you'll know what the coordinates are.
And you put that in your plane. See, because you got to go back to Moorish law that deals with, because Moorish law deals with divine law or natural. And so you're dealing with the coordinates of the position of the property under the stars. Right. That's where you get your longitude and your latitude, your measurements, and your feet.
Yes, sir.
You see? So the address is artificial, but the coordinates is divine.
Yeah.
You get the point?
Divine National Movement.
Well, prophet, we can use that Clearfield Doctrine on anything.
Yes.
On anything.
Yes, sir.
So it must be put in context. You understand? We're putting it in.
IRS sent me something. I'm gonna give them.
Oh, let me show you. All right, now. Let me give you the IRS.
You gotta be in your proper persona though, right?
Excuse me. Hold on.
You gotta be in your proper persona though, right? You can't have your slave type.
Yeah, do you know why?
Gentlemen, right?
Let's talk why.
Because then you're under the de facto, right?
Well, yeah, but why? Go a little further.
I mean, I guess that makes you their property. So
All right, now, all right.
Yeah, you lose your birthright.
But let's make it very clear.
No birthright.
Now, his question and answer is correct, but it needs to be more perfected. Meaning that you need to really understand why, because you got to transfer that to your family members and your children, right? So let's kind of understand, you know, for them to understand what you're saying. They hear what you're saying, but what is the nature of it? Meaning that, why is it that all adepts, see, all adepts know that you cannot transact business, like the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, when you have some Moors starting to get conscious, you know, when they just begin to learn a little bit, he would give them an X, which means unknown, but that's also to cross out the Europeans' claim. Although they're supposed to be taken to the added degree, most of them never been taken to the added degree. But at least they're given an X, because you cannot transact business in another man's name and claim the common law to trump his claim. See, because if he put his name on you and you don't render unto Caesar what is Caesar's, he got a claim and you haven't rebutted it. So if you go buying and selling it, the mark or the number of that name, it's automatically their property. And so if you're trying to talk the common law, it doesn't apply to you because you're not in your proper person. Mm-hmm. Proper person is doing what? Being yourself. In law. In law, if you're not in your proper person, you're civiliter mortuus, dead in the view of law. So if you're trying to make a moral argument and you're not in your proper person, your argument by law is already dead. Now, knowing that our people don't know law, they're not aware of that. They get caught up in the emotion, he's racist, man, he's trying to diss a brother, and they get like that and all, and your status is dead. That's the same principle that happened with Dred Scott. Claim to be Dred Scott when we talk about rights and freedom. You know, you're Englishman's property. Yeah. You're of Asiatic African descent, you're Asiatic. You don't claim to be Dred Scott and you don't talk about rights. You ain't got none. Mm-hmm. Plaintiff in error. That was the decree, right? Mm-hmm. Now, but I'm gonna let's go to like say the common law, right? Let's. All right. Now, this is why people must know law and history, because people make assumptions which you can understand. You know, when they're talking, you know, things that are common sense moral, they assume things that ain't necessarily what they think it is. And so they have to be taught and they have to be made aware of that fact, because they make assumptions that are not true and assume that they have rights when they've abandoned their rights. And they're not aware that they've abandoned their rights because they think they can claim to be anything that they want. You know, we want to be black this time. We want to be Negroites. You know, Negro Dinas. We come from color defiant. You know, they think that stuff is legitimate, not knowing in law that they're outlawed. Now they're common. Here we go. Hold on. Now I want you to pay particular attention to this, but you've got to read between the lines. Meaning you got to have a knowledge of what it's really saying, so you got to know law. Now pay attention to this. Now keep in mind, you understand with the hypothecation, even when they hypothecated all properties and persons and labor, corporate entities, etc., all right, it was structured under a double stock trust under the canon law as their model. So the Inquisition operations against the Moors is operating under canon law. In history, we would just simply say the Crusaders' wars against the Muslims. That's the Inquisition against the Moors. All right? Now, people, Asiatics, that are branded in modern days as blacks, Indians, whatever they call themselves this week. Common law, as distinguished from the Roman law, pay attention to this carefully, as distinguished from the modern civil law, as distinguished from the canon law and other systems, the common law is that body of law and juristic theory which was originated, developed, and formulated and is administered in England and has attained among most of the states and peoples of Anglo-Saxon stock. As common law is distinguished from law created by the enactment of the legislature, 14th Amendment, see, ens legis, right? The common law comprises the body of those principles and rules of action relating to the government and security of persons and property, which derive their authority solely from usages and customs of immemorial antiquity. See, so for you to use the common law, right, to have the capacity to use the common law, you got to be in your proper person. Because you've got to be familiar with and attached to the customs and traditions of your ancient mothers and fathers immemorial. That's the only way you can trump the Roman law and trump the canon law and trump the civil law and other ens legis, etc. Not because it's beautifully structured language. It don't damn apply to you if you're not your proper person. This is rooted in the principle where it says, honor thy mothers and thy fathers, ancient,
And all be well.
in order, yes,
Yes.
that thy what?
Days may be long upon the earth land.
Say again?
That thy days may be long upon the earth land.
Earthland is a state, right?
Yes,
Coordinates, isn't it?
yes.
You see? That the Lord thy God has given thee, that's your estate. In other words, to be heritable, you must honor your mothers and your fathers. Therefore, you cannot claim an estate and transact business in another man's name. This is where you get Isaiah 64, 65, where it says, I hold my hand out all the day long to a hard-hearted and rebellious people who were not called by my name. When they repent from their sinful ways, I will hear from heaven and heal their L-A-N-D, those coordinates, because that's your inheritance. And if you honor not your mothers and your fathers, you have no right of claim on the inheritances, therefore hereditaments, corporal and incorporeal. And therefore, you must have a connection to your ancient mothers and fathers in order to affect the common law. That's the reason the Europeans put their family names on the Asiatics, so that they would not be heritable. And he says, you robbed me of a whole nation of people. He said, how you say, God, we robbed you of a whole nation of people? We didn't do that. He says, yes, you robbed me even of a whole nation of people, and you put your name on them as a curse. But I will slay thee, call them by another name. It's not that it ain't in the book.
It's
The
in
people
there.
don't know that book.
It's in there.
I know that book. No, they don't.
No, you don't.
I honor that book. No, they don't.
No, they don't.
Because if they did, they would recognize this information. He says, if you were Abraham's children, you'd do the works of Abraham's. Stop fronting, y'all. You of your father the devil, John 8:44. And the lust of your father will you do. He was a murderer from the beginning, abides not in the truth. And when he speaks a lie, he speaks of his own.
So before I woke up, I was under my slave name.
And remember, it's not mine, mine's possessor. You was under
A slave name.
the
slave name.
wardship name. Now, watch this. Watch this. This is why we make sure that stuff will be put on your flash drive, so you can go in the law book, so you can get familiar with the instruments or the methodologies by which your birthright is stolen, because you have to be competent to argue to the counter, because they already know, because remember, culture's in the language, right?
Yes.
And when one does not demonstrate through your language that you know the culture, pardon me, they assume your claim's abandoned. Now, see here? Excuse me.
Why wouldn't nationalization papers sent to them, why wouldn't that straighten it up right from Gideon?
Naturalization.
See, they already, when you nationalize, your language tells them who you are. Meaning that if you have a bunch of Manchurians or Chinese, and people have been occupying them and been calling them light-skinned yellow guys, and then their parents and other people around them told them that yellow people was really a nation, and they believed it, and they run around talking about they yellow people. They lost their birthright. Then somebody comes and schools them to the basic principles of civilization on the planet Earth. Says, you're in dishonor. You can't do that before the civilized world. You will be rejected. Because I got a light-skinned yellow girlfriend, and my dark-skinned yellow uncle is the darker one of the lighter light black, yellow, green people, and it matters not what color they are. That person's in-law is incompetent. Then you come and you kind of correct them and say, look, human beings, repeat after me, and they go, human beings are not crayons. What you trying to talk that double stuff? No, human beings have nationalities. You lose your birthright, you go around calling human beings crayons. Grow up, stop being a little boy and girl. You're Chinese. For real? Oh, I know some Chinese people downtown. You're talking in third person. You're not yellow. You're Chinese. Do you understand that? And that's the difficulty you have to get these people who think that people are crayons to tell them that they're Moors. Therefore, the common law doesn't apply to them. They come under the black codes. They're dead in the view of the law. You see the point? Then they wonder why their treatment is what it is.
So when you're national...
Of course, it's common sense to anybody who's a national, but it's not common sense to people who have the mentality of children. Which is why they're classified as minorities. They think it means numbers. It means a bunch of adults with depends on.
But these magi know when you send them that,
Of course,
right?
they're Masons.
Yeah.
They're not going to sit there and argue with these people. Because remember, these same people that think human beings are crayons going to tell you about Jesus, God, Allah, Muhammad. So if they know about them, they daggone sure should know about this. How are you going to claim the love of God you do not see and don't know your brothers and sisters whom you see every day? And you're going to come before the civilized world talking about human beings are crayons, but you want some colored rights. And the law book says colored means artificial. You're going to talk about there's some African country called Colourdephia. It doesn't exist. I know because it's on the map. Because my leader said we came from Negro Dina. There's no such country. At least it's Black Adonia that don't exist either. And they'll argue with you and talk about you racist and everything else like that. And then teach it to their children. The children get rejected, then they want to call everybody else racist when race is the human species. They ain't even figured that out yet.
Yes.
Do you understand how difficult sometimes? So the European, sometimes he's abusing our people, but he's not incorrect. They're being rejected because they're practicing uncivil action on a civilized world. Because every man and woman and child must confess their own. They can't put that on somebody else.
No.
And if they don't confess their own, they can't use the common law. Because that's your right of inheritance. They got to honor their own mothers and fathers and worship under their own vine and fig tree, but they keep on wanting to be Christians. Well, that was their property. called Constantine.
That's Jesus.
Then that book just said told you he was a Jew.
Yeah, but that didn't mean that because we can make it be what we want to be ebonically.
And they start that stuff. They do. And defend it too. Get mad at you and call you a sinner because you ain't going along with the BS Now, in military tenures, wardship, they're considered wards of the state. In military tenures, the right of the Lord to have custody as guardian of the body and lands of the infant heir, without any account of profits, until he was 21 or she 16. And in sockets, the guardian was accountable for profits, as he was not the Lord, but the nearest relative to whom the inheritance could not descend. So, descendability and estate is the issue. See, so these people, you wonder why they call minorities. They're not descendable. And so the courts, etc., and the corporate state don't have to account for the profits. See where those instruments are on the stock market? The birth certificate, the marriage certificate that they keep on trying to capture. Do you understand? When they need to claim their birthright, they want the benefit of the inheritance without the honor. It ain't going to happen.
Wow, we were wrong.
And what we're trying to do is do what? Get past their egos, their vanity, and their beliefs. Deal with the facts and get them to deal with knowledge and begin to honor their mothers and fathers like every other civilized human being is responsible to. They don't want to do that, but they want the benefit. And it ain't going to happen. And then again, trying to get past their egos.
And that's that Muslim stuff.
No, that's your birthright. Do you understand? They start that dizzy crap.
Yes.
And they'll understand this is law. It's not a matter of belief, but they think it's belief. Because it's often presented as belief, too. So it's also the people who teach it is also falsely misrepresenting Islam, too. Do you understand? Just like them reverends have been misrepresenting Christianity. Although it's designed for deception anyway, nevertheless, they're still deceiving.
Yes.
When they themselves know the truth, they just hinder the little ones from coming in. And they walk around $3,000 suits, you understand, Lexuses and Cadillacs, and a parish, you know what I mean? And the people, and they're stealing the widow's pennies.
Yep.
And then as soon as Jesus comes in and exposes it, they want to murder him for telling the truth. You know, this is where the argument with the, you know, with the widow's pennies and the money changers is. That's what it's all about. Because the truth is that the Creator, God, is not broken. God don't need no daggone money. God is not subject to money. You know, God's subject to money. Certainly, you don't need him. He needs you, because he's the one's always broke. You always coming in, you coming out spiritually. I just feel so light on my feet. Yeah, because your pockets is empty. Why you ain't figured that out? You can do that at Jenny Craig. You know.
I ain't never heard that in my life.
But that's the truth.
I ain't never heard that in my life.
But that's the truth. They think they spiritual. I walk different. I talk different. Yeah, because you broke. you gotta explain what Moorish coming why you ain't got no toys.
You broke.
Yeah, spiritual light on your feet. Yeah, so you lost weight. No, my body's born. Yeah, that's what it is. That's really what it is.
Ooh. Ooh.
And I want to also.
I'll never be the same. I'll never be the same. I'll never. They're gonna run me out of Pennsylvania, bro.
And then they try to justify it. You know, a child can kind of figure that out. Now, logically, if you have any institution that takes finance to support whatever institution, it's logical. Because fellowship is good. You know, but don't lie.
Yeah.
and then use, you know, God and the prophets as a cover for your own graft. You know what I mean? We can go sit under the tree. We can just talk the same thing, get some fresh air, and really talk about the Lord. Look up in the heavens. Every time you go, you get all these beautiful, and the roofs always leak. I ain't seen no leak, I ain't seen no buckets. They're always leaking. You gotta get a new roof. Yeah, they said that when Grandma was here. Look pretty good in there to me. Now, and then they're trained, you know, to make these people think this is some kind of Afrocentric, beautiful thing. You know, people of color, right? Color, by common usage in America. This term, it's not identity, it's a legal term. In such phrases as quote-unquote colored persons, quote-unquote the colored race, quote-unquote colored men and the like is used to designate Negroes or persons of the African race, including all persons of mixed blood descended from Negro ancestry. Then give you court case to give you references, etc. Then it says, but where a state constitution provided for separate schools for the white and colored races, the term quote-unquote white race was held to be limited to the Caucasian race, and the term quote-unquote colored race is to embrace all other races. Give you law case. And it has also been held that there is what, y'all? No legal, technical signification to the phrase quote-unquote colored person, which the courts are bound judicially to know. They don't even need to recognize you coming in there with them brands.
I don't know why the colored people, they dissing the colored people.
They don't need to recognize no such people exist. It's a brand for subjugated persons. And it's a legal term. It ain't no Afrocentricity. See, we people of color were, like they just said, something deep and spiritual. They full of twice crap. They need 2 rolls of toilet paper at one time. Now, here we go. Now, you notice on her papers where she has free white person, right? Now, you know, if they read that to the people in that courtroom, half them people was usually 90% of them in the courtroom think they black. They be mostly 90% blacks and Latinos because they're the targets. Both of Moorish descent, trying to be somebody who they're not.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. That's right.
And they pack the jails with them too.
Yep. Building jails for them as we speak.
Now, and you notice that on her document she has free white person, right? You know who would be arguing that? The so-called black leaders.
That they trying to be white. They don't want to be black like our fellow brothers.
They start that dizzy crap. Of course, the world knows they can't damn read. Now, here we go. So what was it that the European judge recognized when he seen that paper and he stopped halfway? Here he talking trash to a white man. Can't do that. Free white persons. Free white persons referred to in the Naturalization Act, as amended by Act July 14, 1870. So now you must know about the Ku Klux Klan Act of Knights of Columbus, Ku Klux Klan, 1854 to 1863, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Chicago, Illinois. Mama's free. All right. Now, so has naturally meaning naturally given to it when first used in 1 Statute 103C3, meaning all persons belonging to the European races, then commonly counted as white, and their descendants, including such descendants in other countries to which they have immigrated. So from 1854 to 1863, Horace Greeley, the West Young Man, etc., countering Lincoln, etc. This is when the Europeans took on the free white person's title that don't belong to them. That's why you see the Naturalization Act of 1870. So you got to be familiar with both the processes of what you call granted citizenship as distinguished from what you call